Welcome everybody to the Digital Download, where we talk about the things that we've seen on digital that's made us laugh, cry, laugh, and it's interactive. So you can ask questions in the comments. We'll bring them up. We'll discuss them. If you got, I can't remember if it was last week or the week before, where we pretty much ran the whole thing by questions that were coming up from the audience. So, and that's fantastic. So,
totally.
Please dive in and comment. If you don't agree, that's brilliant. If you agree, that's brilliant. We love people discussing and chatting. But before we get into anything, let's go through the introduction. So I'm going to go around my screen. So Eric, you're next. Is that a Doyle behind you?
That's an original Doyle. Yeah, that one's called An Index of Possibilities.
I'm waiting for Matt Fibers to say it's upside down, but he's obviously
he will. Yeah, which is a bit about. That's pretty much how my week has gone this week. An Index of Possibilities. I'm Eric. I'm one of the co-founders of Crux. And we are partnered with this motley crew right here on the screen.
Motley crew.
Motley crew.
I thought we were talking about NXS today. Not motley crew.
Yeah. I nearly died. I did. It's like Nikki Six. Sorry, Adam.
Hi, I'm Adam Gray. I'm Tim's business partner, co-founder of DLA Ignite.
Thomas.
Hello. I'm one of the founding partners of Social Selling HQ and a global partner of DLA Ignite.
I'm Brandon.
Hello, everybody. I'm Brandon. I am the founder of Funnel Amplified and a very proud partner with these guys with DLA Global.
So one of the question that got raised. So I was at a conference this week. I spoke at a conference, B2B marketing conference about ABM. And I had a number of people come up to me and say, we tried social selling and it didn't work.
I think actually before we go down that road, you should just tell everybody how that went, because you were on stage and I believe that you told off everybody in the audience.
I told them that their social media was shit. Yeah.
You didn't really read that famous Dale Carnegie book, really, did you?
No, he read the book. I forget who it's written by.
Back to Front.
No, how to lose friends and alienate people.
Oh yeah, I can't remember. He's got a haircut like mine, isn't he?
Yes, and mine.
Yeah. So I had a couple of people. So one of the things that there was a couple of people that I knew, and they came up to me and said, "Oh, what are you doing?" Because they knew me from my old days, and said, "Oh, wow, isn't that amazing?" And they said, "Yeah, we tried social selling, and it didn't work. Why didn't it work?" Well, we went to the salespeople, and they just didn't understand social. And I said, "Did you get the arms folded? You can't teach me anything stance?" And they went, "Yes." I said, "Oh, right, okay, yeah." I said, "I've been dealing with that for about 10 years." But anyway. That gives you some idea of what their experiences were. I just interested to know what experiences you had, but also what have you done to get around it, or what are you doing to? And I think it's great because we've got people like Adam who does work around people change, but we've got you, Brandon, who does work around people, but also system change as well. Who's going to go first?
Well, I think we should put up Robert's.
Yeah, I was just about to come to the. Yeah, I tried it once as well, Robert.
Well, there's a little bit more to it than golf, I like to think. I mean, golf, you're just hitting the ball, aren't you?
Yeah, it's that simple. That's it.
There's nothing to it.
Easy.
Yeah. Social selling is about the same.
You just have a bag of rackets, don't you? And you go down to the.
But we hear that all the time. So we hear people tell us all the time they tried it didn't work, so they went back to what they were doing in the past. So when you dig into that, that's where things get interesting, right? So you ask them, what were you doing, and how do you define whatever the heck it is you think you did? And 9 times out of 10, it was throwing up a little bit of content somewhere, and perhaps
corporate content,
but they don't know the difference. And that's the challenge, right? So people still don't know the difference between social and advertising, right? And they think social is just advertising on LinkedIn, right? And that's the basic premise, and that's why it fails. Above and beyond, maybe they paid for a LinkedIn trainer, one of these famous folks, that go in and train their sales team for 3.5 hours, and that's it. So now they know how to use LinkedIn, and they're on Sales Navigator. We tried social, it didn't work. Well, that's not going to have impact either. So, I mean, we can all jump into the various experiences we have, but those are the two biggest for me.
I think Thomas Ross has uttered the famous phrase that's launched 1,000 blogs. We don't give $5 haircuts, we repair them. It's one of my favorite things that he said in the last couple of months was that very thing. But it's actually getting now to the point where it's becoming like a normal response. To speak to a client who's socially curious, and you get deep into the conversation, and they end up saying, yes, we did one of those 3.5-hour masterclasses with our entire sales, marketing, and technical and senior team. And we did that 6 months ago. And I guess some of the reticence in what you're talking about is going to be that we've already done this and nothing happened. Nothing happened because the charlatan came in and said, "Hi guys, we're going to do profiling today. And we're going to put flowers in your profile, and we're going to make sure that you've splashed everything that you need to splash all across here. And then you just go and you make a video. Bye, 600 quid, please. Yay, LinkedIn training done."
But I don't necessarily think that person is a charlatan. I mean, obviously, there are lots of charlatans out there. There are lots of people that give you advice which is based on their opinion rather than fact. Mm-hmm. Oh, you need to have this kind of photo. No, you don't. You need to have a photo that reflects who you are. You need to say this. Well, you don't. You can say whatever you want to say, but it has to reflect who you are. But some of that advice, I'm sure, is good. And some of those masterclasses are good in terms of the content that they broadcast. However, as we all know, learning stuff is not the same as doing stuff. And that's the problem, isn't it? You know, people go to this masterclass, it's a half-day session, they learn everything that's learnable about LinkedIn, and they go, that's brilliant. And then they go back to their desk and they think, well, I know it now, so I'm all right. And it's like, you know, I'll give you a tour of the gym, Eric, and I'll show you how the machines work, and then you'll be fit, won't you? Well, no, because actually you have to go to the gym every day and you have to actually use the machines. And that's the biggest challenge that organizations face, isn't it? It's telling people what they need to do is one thing, getting them to do it is something else. Like the sales
converting that into action is a different thing, yes.
Yeah, well, you just need to go and sell some stuff, Eric. Okay, that's the problem, isn't it? You know, it's when you preface it with the word just. You just need to implement what was shown in the masterclass and you'll be fine. Yeah, but the just bit is the difficult bit.
I think the bit I'm struggling with is we've all been in organizations. When you've been in a larger organization that, for instance, has decided that they need to make a fundamental change to their business, something as fundamental and as epic to a business's structure as, like, for instance, changing or implementing, and I know there's probably going to be sharp intakes of breath here, I'm really sorry, grab onto a table, implementing a new ERP system. Right? So there's the months of development, there's all the supplier selection, there's all defining the issue and the problem, building the architecture, building the structure, training all the teams over months and doing all the workshops to develop the architecture and the pillars and all of that. And we do all this because it's a fundamental business transformation that we're trying to do with ERP. And we go through this months of development, and then there's all the integration stuff, and then there's all the changeover stuff. And we'll maybe even create a team that we take a team of 20 people out of the business to become the ERP champions for all of that, because this is about business transformation. But when it comes to social media, which could have a thumping impact on our business for the future, we'll just try and do it in 3.5 hours in an afternoon with some guy who's going to talk about, you know, doing our profiles and chucking some content out there. And for me, they're as important as each other. They're now on the same pedestals in terms of business transformation.
Well, they should be. Social should be more important, shouldn't it? Because at the end of the day, if you put in your new ERP system, which gives you real-time analytics of your pipeline, your requirements for staffing, your cost structure, your sales, your customer retention, and all of that information, you put in this multi-million-dollar ERP system to tell you that you got no pipeline and no business. And I fear that that's what a lot of organizations are facing now, isn't it? They've got brilliant tech that's telling them that they're screwed.
I've just got a brilliant mental image of, after the year of implementation, they all sit around one computer and go on then, Joanne, press the button, and she goes, says we've got no pipeline.
Yes. What still?
All the waiting, and a ticker tape comes out. You have no pipeline.
Well, then the response would be, "Oh, it's not working right. We need to
spend we need a new one.
This is crap. We need a new one. Brilliant.
Oh gosh.
Oh man.
Yeah, I think the. Sorry, my brain's going in so many different directions. But I remember consulting a company years ago, and there was a conversation around which sales methodology should they adopt and train, and Brandon, what do you recommend? And I was like, well, first of all, I don't want to get in the middle of this fight, but worst place in the world for a consultant to be is right in the middle of teams fighting. But I said, I don't really care which one you choose. I care more of the fact that how you actually try to implement it, because training and creating behavior change takes time. And most companies will think that, oh, we got to get back to selling, so hurry up with the training. And it goes completely against my concept of you got to go slow to move fast. Because if you're not implementing and you're not training and retraining and emphasizing and retraining and working together to make sure that you're doing the daily activities every day and being consistent, and there's consistency and there's consistency. It doesn't really matter which one you implement anyways. We spend so many companies will spend so much time on what they should start to train on, but they don't think about the long-term behavioral change process, and they come to the conclusion of it didn't work. So it's just the basics of people don't plan, so they end up failing.
And it comes down to the fundamentals, doesn't it? Sales for decades and decades has been a process. You do this, you develop your leads, back in the old days, you cold called and you went to trade shows and you sent emails and you did all these things, and you took these activities and you did a certain amount of the right activities. You got the right responses, you got the right opportunities, and you created a pipeline. Problem is, none of that works today, but the process, that is to say, the method by which you develop sales, is as important today as it ever was. The challenge is it's changed, because your customers changed. So yes, you still have to take all these different steps, but they're very different steps. So now what you need to do is to leverage social media and the digital online world and actually take step 1 through 10, repeat, in order to develop those same opportunities and to reach the people that you can't reach otherwise. And that's the difference, and that's the fallback, and that's why everybody fails, because they take one step and they think they're good to go. They just have to wait for all the inbound, right? We put up some corporate advertising on LinkedIn. Surely we're going to get nothing but leads now, and away we go. Well, of course, that's step 1 of many steps. And so we need to be evaluating all those, and simultaneously we need to understand what the heck social media is in the first place.
Isn't there a thing above that, though, which is about people taking responsibility? So I've been having a number of conversations with people that I'm coaching, and they have been around you need to put yourself first. This is about your brand. This is about you making yourself stand out and being credible. And on the back of you being credible for whatever it is you want to be known for, you being credible gives the platform for you to have conversations. And during those conversations, you introduce what the business does. But it begins with you saying, this is about me building an audience for myself and the job that I do. The problem is when people adopt this, it's not my job attitude. It's marketing's job to feed me with leads. Okay, so how many leads have you had from marketing in the last 6 months? And how many of those leads were actually people that wanted to talk to you? Well, I've had 2 leads and they were both crap. Okay, so it isn't working. So either you can sit and point the finger and say it's marketing's fault as you're being marched out of the office with a box full of your possessions, or you can take control of the situation and try to become a hero. Now, if you don't succeed in becoming a hero, you're going to get sacked, but you're going to get sacked anyway because you haven't sold anything. So what do you want to do? Do you want to at least go down fighting? And actually, when people start to take responsibility for things, they feel a great sense of empowerment, is my experience. You know, oh, look at that. I'm actually starting to make headway. And it's not always sales in the short term. Sometimes it's just conversations or more engagement or more views of their posts or more positive affirmations that, oh, I kind of quite like you. You're really interesting. But it's something, and something is better than nothing. And that gives them the confidence to do more of that stuff, which further increases their visibility and the traction that they get and the conversations that they have. But it doesn't it just boil down at the very start to, okay, your pipeline, your future, your credibility in this space, do you want somebody else to control that, or do you want to control that?
Absolutely. But, you know, at the end of the day, with respect to the question, and that is, we tried social, it doesn't work. It comes down to the fact that they haven't trained their people the steps they need to be taking on a regular basis, of which you just laid out one of the key steps, and that is to develop your own online presence, right? And your own online profile. That's a key step. But the fact is, there are steps. And if I ask that same individual, what steps did you take similar to the previous sales steps you used to have? What did you change in terms of the steps your teams need to do? What do they do day to day? How many of those activities do they have to do? And which ones did they actually fulfill? What did you change in that regard, and how did that impact your process? And they look at you, right? Yeah. And there's generally no answer to that question.
Say
right?
What?
But that is, in fact, the answer to the question.
Why
Because you didn't change anything.
Why would you say what in a Scottish accent, Adam?
It's always in a Scottish accent. I'm Scottish
right,
at heart,
okay.
Eric.
All right, okay, fair enough.
We all are at heart, aren't we?
Yeah, really, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, I think one of our jobs is to ask better questions of people, because it's easy for people to say, "Oh, we tried social, it didn't work." And to Thomas's point, I like to say, "Well, what did you do exactly?"
Yeah.
And a lot of them either don't know or know where the conversation's going to go. But it's when you say, what did you do exactly? Because I just find social media or social selling now is, you know, it's kind of like the term marketing. Everybody's going to come up with their own definition or their own thoughts of what it means based on their own experiences. And I mean, we've all experienced, right? Oh yeah, we're all over a C-suite says, oh yeah, we're all over social. Great. What does that mean? Oh, well, marketing's all over it. Great. What does that mean? Help me understand what that means. Because
they posted something last week, Brandon.
Well, exactly. Yeah. And here's the other thing I think it means is they use LinkedIn message as a new channel to send out email messages.
Some people, yeah.
And they call that social. That's social media. It's like, no, I mean, I don't know. That's my biggest frustration.
Do you think it's because we often talk about these organizations that have, in effect, a digital hope. I won't say strategy, but methodology, which is where they basically they hire people and they go, well, we haven't got a clue what social is. Marketing don't have a clue what social is. So let's hire some people and they'll figure it out for us.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a great point, Tim, and I get a little too philosophical on this, so smack me along here, but I do go back to, I don't know, 15 plus years ago in one of my companies, we created a relationship building system that was based on content for a very large insurance company in the US. And we did a beta test with a couple hundred agents over a year, and it worked phenomenal because it was salespeople and the agents themselves that were driving it with, you know, our background and expertise, and they did an amazing job and it worked really well. And then when they took that product and wanted to go take it to the rest of the, you know, tens of thousands of agents, marketing got involved. And then marketing started putting into it their cross-promotional products and their sales messages. And then when they rolled it out, it lasted less than a year and died, because then all the agents said, this isn't doing for me what it was supposed to do, which was create conversations and build relationships. So I think when the internet started, so to speak, and companies started getting the WWWs, it went to marketing, because initially it was just a brochure on the internet. But as the internet started to evolve and mature, and the tool of the internet became something more powerful, that's when it should have gone back to sales. It should have gone back to customer success, because they're the ones that understand the value of relationship building. And I don't need to go talk to 10,000 people. I need to go talk really well to about 30 of them. But it all stayed in marketing. And then, you know, we got email marketing, we got inbound marketing, we got SEO, we got PPC, we have ads, and it all stayed in marketing. Who knows how to, but they don't know how to listen. And I think that's why we've got where we are, where we tried social, but generally that means we broadcasted a bunch of shit and nobody responded. And you got the sales team and the customer success people over here going, I would actually like to be social, but I don't have the tools. I don't know how. And then something else would come in of a, whatever you want to call it. Maybe it's sales enablement, maybe it's marketing. And they go, well, here's our employee advocacy tool. And then we are going to give you these things that you can send out email sequences asking people for demos, but you could also do it in LinkedIn Messenger. It's just
and again, it's broadcast. I mean, you know, employee advocacy is broadcast. Is, you know, we're going to take brochure or brochureware that says, you know, buy my product because it's great, and you're going to post it out there, and everyone's going to go, wow, incontinent pads, I need them, I'm going to buy some, you know.
No, and I think even
that was your
I've been
go-to.
needing those for years. So I'm now I've seen a post of it, and I'm going to buy some.
But Brandon, that whole piece that you just said there about not listening, broadcasting, doing our whole piece, you see it, I see it, we all see it. When we have the modern take on this, whether it's they just have an awakening, whether it's that they've been curious about this, but the particularly in larger organizations, maybe even in the micro organizations as well, when the marketing person says today, can everyone stop for a second? I think we've maybe lost the plot here. I think we need to look at something differently. I think we need to, as you're that. Yep. When they do look over there, when marketing does that, the massive powerful effect of change in the organization, when that little synapse just happens and that little beautiful dye in the water just happens, when marketing say, guys, I think we need to listen here. I think we need to take a new approach on this. I think we need to do it. It's very powerful, because the organization's been kind of looking at marketing going, well, this was your job anyway, because there was a sort of confusion around it. So yeah, I've seen it. We've seen it when marketing do say, right, okay, I'm going to take a deep breath here. I know I'm secure in my job. I know that my company respects me. I'm going to be really, really, really brave here and take a step forward out in a plank.
More for doing this.
Yeah, and say, guys, I was trained in the 90s, maybe did my degree. The world's moved on. I've had my head down in broadcast mode for 20 or 30 years, and this has passed me by. And the results that we used to produce for you guys, we're not getting them anymore. So let's collaboratively work as a team on how we do this. Social selling is something that's probably passed most marketers by. And when they open their eyes to it and they open their hearts to it, the significant corporate change, it's palpable.
Yeah, I agree, and I think it's what Adam said earlier is you're going to get sacked anyway, so you might as well take a shot at being the hero and avoid being.
But you said, Eric, I'm secure in my job, and people in the company respect me. I don't think they do anymore, and I don't think that's marketing. I think that's functions that are failing. People respect IT because they don't know how their computer works and they don't know how it connects to the network, and you phone up IT and they make the problem disappear. People don't respect sales largely, and the reason they don't is that, well, all you've got to do is go and sell it. The fact that it's the most pivotal skill that there is to the success of a business often isn't viewed that way, because you don't need to take a degree in selling to go and sell stuff. It's something that you kind of learn on the job, and it'll be all right. And marketing, reference my earlier comment, they don't produce leads, and the leads they do produce aren't very good. Generally, not always the case, but generally that's true. And that's been true not for 3 months, but for 3 years, 5 years, or 10 years.
Yeah, but we'll pull alongside organisations who are just about to approve the next 100K spend on marketing next year.
Exactly. And I think that the problem is that marketers, through no fault of their own, are so, you made this point a while ago, Eric, when you said, the marketing department, they're incredibly skilled. They've learned all of these things. They've got a degree in it. They're really well educated about these techniques, but the techniques are largely irrelevant nowadays. And the things that they used to measure, that used to be important, in the old days, it would be how many views, how many impressions, how many impacts of this ad. Well, actually, doesn't really matter anymore. And the reason it doesn't matter is that, particularly when we look at the article that Tim found about Facebook, when they said, if the ad loads more than 1 pixel for more than 1 millisecond, it counts as a view of the ad. Well, not surprisingly, if you show 1 million ads to 1 million people and they fulfill that criteria, no one even notices that the ad's there. Now, obviously, sometimes the ad does load properly and it is on screen for 20 seconds. But all of us are conditioned, not by advertising or by education, but by life, that adverts need to be ignored. The adverts come on the TV and you either skip through them if you've recorded it, or you go and make a cup of tea. The adverts crop up in the newspaper and you turn across them. The adverts are on the back of the bus in front, and you're too busy looking in the shop windows that you're going past rather than looking at the back of the bus. It's wallpaper. And the problem is,
but Adam, you just haven't figured out the right message. You just got to have a message.
That's your messaging is shit.
The craft
our message is better.
Line.
Yeah.
But at the end, what's so interesting is if you catch up on the news today, ad spend and the forecasted ad spend for Q1 is through the roof.
Mm-hmm.
Right? The New York Times reported they've got the strongest advertising spend they've had in 10 years.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
They're way up. Now, why is that?
Because it doesn't work.
Bunch of reasons.
because you've got to spend more to get the same response. One of these analysis platforms said email is the fastest growing communications mechanism. And absolutely, that's not because it works, it's because it doesn't. You've got to send 10 times as many to get the same response. It's a free to access platform where you just wind the handle a little bit faster, but the more you send, the less people want it.
Well, and I want to go back to what Robert, I'd love to get Robert's take on this, because I do respect him as a marketer, but I think that I think in some ways we're speaking in hyperbole and just say it doesn't work. I think that email is a communication platform, and it can work better than the way most people are using it, because they send it out from a broadcast perspective. They send it out from I'm important. Here's my calendar link. Schedule time with me because I'm going to change your life.
I got an email from a guy that said he set up podcasts and he could help me set up a podcast if I was interested. So I went back to him and said, I've been running one for 5 years and doing 200 and interviewed over 200 people. And he went back and he came back and said, well, I don't know and I don't care, because it was a machine that generated that email.
Right.
Is I don't even know who I'm emailing.
Right. And that's the let's not throw the baby out with bathwater. I don't want to throw away email because his company or he or whatever used it like a moron. Like that's just not going to work. We play the people that play the numbers game and do that.
But if you take, I mean, email is a great thing, Brandon, because is that most people, you know, when I was in corporate life, I got 200 emails a day. Mm-hmm. And I'm not bragging. It's just the way that the you know, we sat there in the office sending emails across the office to each other, and sending an email to somebody, you're basically deciding to send the communication to me, which in most cases, most salespeople use templates. So I don't use email, so it's anything that I get on email generally is spam. Most of the stuff that I get from salespeople is a template. I got one this week from somebody, and it was, the fonts were all different because he was so bad at cutting and pasting. He was from, I can't remember. They recently did a piece of a report from HubSpot, and they co-branded that, and it was just awful. I can't believe that as a, you know, when people say this is all about brand, you know, if you're going to spam me, at least you can spam me on brand. But the thing about email,
let's spam me well.
The thing about email is that if as a senior executive, and let's talk about selling at a high level. I'm not interested about selling tickets to the football or something like that. If we're selling high, you're going to have someone who's going to have an email box of 200 emails a day. You are just another one of those 200. And that person is going to surf straight past you because they've got other issues. It's the noisiest place that you can put yourself as a marketer.
But translate and transpose that over and put that lens over onto social and think about news feeds on social. It's exactly the same, right? Just constantly putting out the same corporate churn, the same stuff that you've been doing. But it really astonishes me. It doesn't astonish me because it's become almost like kind of Groundhog Day when you start looking at. We look at a lot of profiles, we look at a lot of news feeds on different platforms, and seeing, 4 years worth of daily content being put out on someone who's got a network of 5,000 people, for instance. Let's talk about LinkedIn, and for every single day, no response. No interaction, no comments, no interaction. If there is interaction, it's from their own team. But so why do you do that? It's great for visibility. It's really, really good for visibility. Got to be out there.
Because Dave on the next desk now knows what we do. Yeah. Oh, he should have known anyway, shouldn't he?
But that metaphoric pile of letters in our hall below the letterbox, or the comparison being that full inbox full of spam and crap and nonsense and all of that, and that news feed full of the same churn, blah 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 blah. I think people in 2021 have become really cute with this. Really cute. We know what we like and we know what we don't like. There used to be a time back in the day when the advertisers had control over us and they just led us around by the nose through the rings in our nose.
And that, if you go back to the 1930s and 40s and 50s, the only way that you got access to information and what was going on in the world was through a newspaper, and the only way that you knew about the magic of washing powders and toothpaste was to read the adverts.
And then look at the modern person, and Nick Rayburn's comment just above Robert's there when he talks about people want startup. Can you put that one up? We now want the feeling that we can control and curate what we see.
Yeah, so I have a friend of mine said to me, he said, I love adverts. I said, why'd you do that? He said, because I find out about things. I said, oh, that's great. He said, but I never buy from the people that the advert, because the moment I'd see an advert, what I do is I go online and I start searching. So someone will advertise something, and what I always do is I end up buying from the competitor at a lower price. So most people are advertising, and as you say, they're increasing their spend and driving business to their competitors.
Yep.
It's totally bizarre.
Again, I think that's a little bit of hyperbole there. It's like you see an ad, you go research and buy from the competitors. Yeah, that probably happens sometimes, but sometimes it drives somebody there that buys from them.
But I spend my day making sure that I don't see adverts, and so does most people. Oracle say that you get hit by at least 10,000 brand messages a day. you can, how do you stand out?
I love it. I love it
Yeah,
on some of the apps that we get on our phones. You, when you buy the app, you get the option to pay a little bit more, so you don't see the ads. You can actually, you can opt out.
Yeah, let's shift it this way, because I don't disagree. I think I disagree with to the extent that we're just saying it doesn't work. I just, for me, it isolates me from my target audience to just say it doesn't work. And I think there are ways that companies can still use those, but there's got to be a shift in how they're using these tools, and then make a decision if you just want to get rid of your tool as the steps to get there. I think that what the internet has done for the buyer, and I don't care if it's a B2C, a consumer, or a B2B buyer, I think what the internet has done is it's given us the power to coordinate and control our own, what I call the circle of trust, right? I can decide who gets into my world and who stays out of my world. So if I choose, and that's what I mean by there are some emails that I choose to subscribe to and bring to me because it's information that for whatever reason, I've chosen to trust them. And it's usually because they're not trying to sell me stuff all the time. They actually give me good information. And so I will choose to bring them into my world. They can come in, I choose to bring them into my news feeds.
And the converse is that we choose, my partner and I, she buys Gap jeans, and we choose to pay more for the jeans so we don't get bombarded with their shitty emails.
What do you mean by that?
They give you a discount if you sign up for their email list, and we choose to pay more.
Right. I think you're just a little extreme from the norm.
No, we were in the queue, and I basically started asking people. They also give you a discount if you sign up for the app. And I said to the people, are you going to sign up for that? And they say, you're joking. All they'll do is just keep hitting me with notifications saying, buy my products.
But I think that the lesson here is how people behave on social is how they want to behave everywhere. And the lesson for marketers is to not get into people's faces and to not talk about themselves. And if you're engaging with somebody on a social channel and you're having a proper conversation and building a relationship with that person, the lesson as to how you do that should be rolled out across other platforms as well. Because our preference as a business is to use Slack rather than email, but clients want to contact us by email. So email still has a value. And there will be emails that I still open that are not from people that are clients. Yeah, I do as well. 9 times out of 10, a circular arrives in my inbox, and the first thing I do is scroll to the bottom and look for the unsubscribe button, and then I unsubscribe from it because I've got better things to do. Seth Godin said, I have better things to do with my time than solve your marketing problem. But the lesson here for marketers is that they need to think about how they develop the conversation. And the problem with that whole narrative, and Tim and I worked for a company that had a whole department that used to do customer journey mapping to understand where were the inflection points in the customer buying journey so we could make sure we could give them the right information. And it was never about the customer buying journey. It was always about the business selling journey. And therein lies the problem. So I'd like to really understand you and build a strong relationship with you is what marketers say. And what they mean is I'd like to really understand you and build a strong relationship with you so I can sell something to you. That's what they mean. And then
I would add to
relationship.
Adam, I would add to that, and I agree with Brandon. And that's part of the problem with some of the reasons we get so much pushback is you don't throw everything you've been doing to date out the window and stop doing all of that and now start doing all of this. It doesn't work that way. And when you approach people that in that way, you're going to get the result that we see very often. They've got to take the right steps and learn and see that some of these things are more effective and understand that spamming people with email isn't going to have the same impact.
But they don't think it's spamming.
Will get you better results.
But
no, I understand.
Therein lies the problem.
That.
They don't think it's.
But
spamming.
You don't throw everything out just to jump to something.
But they need a reality check. So I was working with a client last year, and the person that was the country manager for this business, a multi-billion-dollar business, marketing said to them, would you do some videos for us, some personalized videos that we're going to send out to hot prospects? So they gave this person a script. The person read the script to camera, wearing their suit and everything. They read it to camera. Hi, Thomas. Delighted to introduce myself to you. Here's the company. Here's what we do. And we'd love to have a talk with you about how we can solve these problems for you. 100 of these videos to hot prospects. They sent them out. 2 of them got opened. None of them got a response. And therein lies the problem. It is a spamming mechanism. So if you've built a list of people that want to get to know you better, then stop sending emails to them and work out how you need to develop a conversation with them. And you can develop the conversation and use email to deliver that. But first of all, you need to understand what a conversation looks like. And most marketers have forgotten that. Most marketers have forgotten that a conversation is not a monologue, it's a dialogue. And if you're not having the customer engaging back with you and actually demonstrating that they're nodding and listening to what it is that you're saying, you need to stop talking and stop talking quickly, because they just tune you out.
Yeah. And Adam, what you said there is spot on. It's about learning where the conversation is and having a conversation with them. And in the same sentence, you said, and then you could deliver that via email. So we can't keep speaking in hyperbole that email's dead. It's the methodology that companies are trying to engage prospective customers that needs to be changed, because they're speaking at them. And whoever earlier said, it's not about the buyer's journey, it's really about our seller's journey. When you think that way, then whatever tool you use, whatever message you create is going to be wrong, because it's going to miss the buyers.
Yeah,
absolutely missing the buyers. Absolutely missing the buyers. We sidled alongside a very keen RevOps leader recently, and that RevOps leader was like, my priority right now is to get more of my sales team talking and having relationships, building relationships directly with prospects. What I'm hearing about all of this is that this enables this. If we do this, I don't understand. This person saying, I don't understand this. I'm an old school email and calls. That's what I've built my sales life on, and I've made it up to RevOps leader. So if you're saying that this puts my sales team right in front of and under the noses of prospects in an elegant and professional way, I'm in. But to me, it sounds like something we need to get on board with our head of marketing. So can you go away and have a meeting with our head of marketing, right? Yes, absolutely. Do you want to do that together? No. You just, gee, sure, we should probably do it together. No. You just meet with the marketing. This is a genuine transaction that happened. Meet with the marketing leader. The marketing leader listened intently, asked lots of questions, and then said, I'm really keen on this, but I think we're a year away from implementing this, because I've got all these things that I need to do. I need to do a website review. I need to do an ICP. I need to do a voice of the customer exercise. And I've just brought in a company to help us do that for 3 months. And then we're going to take 3 months to analyze the results, and we're going to pump that back through our channels, and we're going to do all this internal stuff. I need to do marketing training for everyone. So there's a 4-month program for that. So we are about a year away from implementing this. Okay.
At which point I will have had a job offer from that other company I want to go and work for, because I haven't had to make any changes where I currently work.
Right.
But then, so.
And how much pipeline did the company have?
Struggling. So the RevOps leader, who's got the oversight of all of this, and not thinking about what I need to do and what I need to justify and what I need to, all the stuff that might have been sort of slightly older school, not head up, head down into a suitcase of tools that are, I'll try this one, it's covered in dust, but I'll give it a go. I'll try that one. I'll do an ICP exercise. I'll bring in an outsourced advocacy company to help us with all of this. None of these activities, and I had to be super gentle, is all of that stuff that's going to take a year going to enable us in a way where we can get what your RevOps leader is talking about, is getting your people connecting and building relationships directly with prospects. Not right now, but it needs to be done so that we understand the messages that we're putting out there. So there you go. There's a company who's got a pipeline struggles and worries, are going to be waiting for a year before they can get what they really need, which is people talking directly to people.
And I think that for me, that's I've had that same question or that same experience, Eric, multiple times. It's so frustrating. And I had a conversation with a RevOps person the other day that was, hey, we want our salespeople to be seen as trusted advisors. Of course, that's a holy grail. Everybody does.
Sounds fantastic.
Yeah, but the question is, are you willing to do the work so they act like a trusted advisor? Because you can't be seen as a trusted advisor and welcomed into the circle of trust if you act like a douchebag salesperson. It's just, it's not going to happen. And I know it's a crude word. My wife would smack me if I said it anywhere, much less on video. But I say it for that reaction is you got to realize your behavior is being received as buyers as being douchey. Like, stop sending me your crap without the relationship. Once the relationship's there and I've welcomed you into my circle of trust, so to speak, then I don't care how you send me information personally. But if you haven't earned the right for me to see you as a trusted advisor, get out of everything that I have. I mean, I blew up somebody the other day because, about every 20 or 30 of these, I just kind of go, stop the freaking insanity. Replied to somebody who sent me a bunch of stupid crap in LinkedIn message and just said, will you stop sending me this crap? Like, I can't imagine that your automation tool is doing you any good. You're probably never even going to read this because the company you hired out of some, other country that's processing all this for you will throw it away and you'll never even see it. And you're not going to have any clue how bad this is hurting your reputation. And I will never do business with you ever, even if this was something I wanted to do. And no response.
Well, did you not go to the? I always go to the sales director and write them a little note.
I'm surprised your response wasn't, wow, that's really interesting, Brandon, lowercase. Here's a Calendly invite. Maybe we should have a meeting.
Let's have 20 minutes where you can.
Let's have 20 minutes. Yeah, Christ.
I had an email not an email, a message from someone on LinkedIn, which read, I'm holding a free workshop at the beginning of November for how creative agencies can generate more profit. It will cover 1, how to ensure revenue converts to profit. 2, the simple actions you need to do today to improve your profit. And 3, how to plan ahead in your business. And my response was, there are 3 points you should be aware of. 1, we are not a creative agency. 2, we are not a creative agency. 3, we are not a creative agency. Because actually these people, they're... And Robert put something in the comments here. So if we're saying that 95% of people that they're stupid, how do we get them to listen to what we're saying? Well, we're not saying that they're necessarily stupid, but sometimes they do stupid things because they don't think it through. And actually, these people need a bit of a shake out of that malaise. The fact that we're going to run another campaign. We're going to run another mail shot campaign, and we're going to actually give people a 15% discount. A friend of mine runs a business. Every email they send tells you that there's a flash sale going on.
Yeah.
Now, that's problematic in so many ways and damaging to the brand. It's a luxury product that they sell, and there's always a sale on. So that's
B2C, right? That's a consumer product.
Yeah, but it's a high-end B2C thing. But fundamentally, that's the sort of behavior that organizations get into. They do something and they can't stop doing that thing anymore. So we'll mail out to these people in our audience. We've got 20,000 people on the mailing list. We get 10% unsubscribe and we get 4% response rate to the mail out. So we'll just keep mailing out. But the problem is that you mail out to 100% this time, 90% next time, 80%, and you still get the 4% yield on that. And the numbers are getting smaller and smaller. And even the 4% yield, fundamentally, that's a 96% failure rate if it is 4%, and it probably isn't. And
I would just to Robert's point is I think the 5 of us can do a better job of not telling people they're stupid and saying, here's some alternatives that you can implement and compare KPIs. And we all say that. I think sometimes and maybe this Friday we're just all, I'll admit for me, I was more frustrated this week because I've got so much bad messaging filling up my email and filling up my LinkedIn message. But you know, I think my message to a lot of our customers or prospective customers, especially on the marketing side, is it's time to ask better questions, because the questions of you know, did we do social selling before is not the right question. The question comes down to what Eric was saying earlier, when the RevOps person said, or it wasn't necessarily even in the form of a question, but you know, what they expressed probably came from your right question, Eric, is what I'm getting to. How do you want your salespeople to be seen in the industry? And if you can get there and truly like, this is what we're going to do, well, then we need to work with the client, you know, think with the end in mind and go, well, what does it take to have that culture to be seen that way, and then build backwards. And that's why the 3-hour LinkedIn training is never going to work. I did a strategy session with the team this past week, and it took us almost 3 hours just to get them to a point and go, maybe we could use social differently.
3 hours just to get lights on.
We're missing something here, and Eric, you sort of alluded to it, and Brandon, you're getting there. We're missing the key problem, and the key problem isn't the RevOps manager, and it isn't the CMO, and it isn't the salespeople, and it isn't any of those folks.
It's coming. The mic
here
drop.
Here it comes.
Yeah, the pencil dropping.
The problem is leadership, guys, and when you don't get the message across to the leadership, have fun with that, right?
Oh,
and it sounds like you all
AirPod drop.
Yeah, AirPod drop.
Yeah. AirPod drop.
Woo, there it is.
This is like a horse race, right? And it's Thomas Ross coming up in the last final furlong in the last 10 minutes. He's dropped the mic. So here's my
so excited. His AirPods went.
So blood pressure.
Well, I mean, I go through this every day, right? And so do all of you. So we know that the RevOps officer is going to relate back to the CMO, or the CMO is going to relate back to wherever. And we know that it's going to die somewhere in that process, because somebody's stuck in some process they're going to stick to, and that's it. And you're not going to move it. Now, when you get to the leadership and you show the CEO and you show the owner or the board of directors or whoever it is, this is what you as a company need to do. And these are the steps we need to take to get you there. And you get that, stuff happens, and that's where you need to be. And don't get me wrong, and I agree with what Brandon said. You can't be telling 95% of the people that they're stupid, but I think you need to tell 100% of the CEOs that they're not doing the right things, and that as leaders they need to start to learn what to do as a business so that we can get the right things happening.
Here. He does it again. Thomas Ross comes in.
We've got 7 minutes to go, Thomas.
Well, speaking exactly to that point, Thomas, it is heartwarming and gives me faith that we're on. This is going to sound really schmaltzy, right? But I wonder if you could put that Jeff Mountain's quote up, Tim. So Jeff is a leader, and what we're asking leaders to be is socially curious and have their heads up about what's out there and do their diligence and do all of that. So this is a leader of an organization, Ocean Marine Group, out of Aberdeen. Companies and people, myself included, need to be educated and trained to understand social selling. Without the comprehension of its hows and whys and wherefores, organizations will remain ignorant, and that's very difficult to sell into or against. And that's a company leader talking, who's got his head up, who's looking out across the world and saying, things are changing, guys. Things that I'm open to finding out about this. And he also recently sponsored the brilliant show called The Big Live Breakfast Briefing.
Is that like a morning show in?
Yes, it is. Yeah, I don't want to talk too much about it, but it's I've heard it's quite good. So he's a man of impeccable taste. But there you go. No bull aside. There's a modern company leader with his head up, going, "Ooh, there's something in this," and just that very action, as Thomas said, that very action of, guys, let's be open to this. Let's think about it. There's action and there's conversation starting, and there's things happening, there's sparks flying, and synapses being made about the future, which is gorgeous.
Yeah. And that's, I think, for me, what I want to know is how did he get there? What was the process that he took as a business leader to become curious about that, to get more comprehension or understanding of what social selling can be?
And we'd love you to come on, Jeff, and tell us.
Yeah. because I think that's, I mean, one of the things that, I mean, just for the five of us is that
there's just five of us. There's no one else.
just the five of us today.
And your wife
is-
doesn't listen, so she doesn't know you said douchebag.
I know.
Yeah, but whenever anyone says it, particularly when Brandon says it, it makes me laugh. So I'm 50 years old, and another man shouting douchebag on a LinkedIn live makes me laugh every time.
I need to find new words. You know, I think that's, for me, that's exciting that a business leader got there, and those are the types of customers that we really want to help. And yeah, sometimes we go about it by arguing, yelling, complaining, getting a little emotional about people making stupid decisions. And I mean, it's a fine balance. I don't want to keep telling my customers or prospective customers they're stupid, but I agree. I think Adam said it, is I want to figure out the best ways to help them to stop making stupid decisions. And it's only because they've got a hammer in their hand that they've developed over the last 10 years, and therefore everything still looks like a nail. And it's time to get rid of the frickin' hammers and realize that construction has changed, and you got to start looking at things a little bit differently.
Modern materials.
And if you don't, the materials, everything. If you don't, you're going to get left behind. And I mean, I'm excited for Eric that I'm assuming it's one of your customers or someone that you're helping, which is awesome.
Just someone we've met along the way that we're talking to. That's all. Just a conversation.
Yeah, but I'm excited for them for a leader to get to that point and start looking for, you know, expert help like Crux, and they're going to dominate their industry. And it's not going to be, I mean, the fun thing, it's hard, but it's not that hard. You just got to be consistent with implementing systems every day.
Mm-hmm.
Get off my soapbox now, and I won't say douchebag anymore.
No, we love it when you say that.
So I spoke at an event on Wednesday, and I got a message today from a senior leader in a very large telco here in the UK. And his LinkedIn message was, I saw your session on Wednesday, and what was provoked, what you had to say. It's completely intuitive that emotional messaging moves people, yet the crap we put out on social is mostly corporate bullshit. I thought I'd test the difference on my own profile. In short, you were right that human connection gets massively higher reach. Not really a surprise, but to harness that authentically is the challenge. It's nice to get that as soon as you come in.
Yeah. It is, but
I was going to say open your inbox, but I never open mine, so it's in my LinkedIn.
But it does make a great point as well, and that is that it works, but it's not easy, right? It's a real new set of skills that we need to learn and to put into action.
It's simple, but not easy.
There you go. And if you're expecting that today by noon, the change is going to take place, good luck with that. It's not easy. It takes hard work. Yes.
No.
We come on. We've got another 2 minutes.
Adam, is that? Why do you get the word "kick" behind you?
Oddly, yes, yes, you have. That's our album of the week, isn't it?
Album of the week.
So what's album of the week then, Adam and Eric?
Well, Eric and I love music. I know Tim loves music as well, and we often. But Eric and I found ourselves frequently texting each other of an evening, going, "Guess what I'm listening to at the moment? It's got such and such in it," and then we would have a bit of a talk about that. And we thought, given that we've been in lockdown and we can't go to a bar and sit and talk about music, we would do it online. So every week we do a deep dive into an album. And actually, Tim has stood in for Eric on a couple of occasions when Eric's been otherwise engaged. And it's lovely just to focus on one album for a week and then talk about what we like about it or don't like about it and what was going on at the time. And this week it's Kick by INXS.
Oh,
It has been a joy doing this.
Mm-hmm.
I heard the word bar in there. Is there drinking involved?
That could be.
There can be, yes.
Okay. There can be, and there should be. There should be. So we did Jagged Little Pill by Alanis Morissette last week, which was
How
brilliant.
come I didn't know about this? I thought we were friends. I love that album.
It was so good. It was such a good one. It was a joy because for the first time since what will be referred to as the OK Computer incident, we didn't argue. We didn't argue over it. We were kind of in agreement that this was brilliant. Jagged Little Pill was brilliant, and I kind of get that was brilliant. Still is. Still relevant today. And
I think
never read it.
Alanis Morissette's mind and the way she thought when she created that whole thing was just
clever.
awesome. I think it was so underrated.
Yep.
Yeah, we began, the first one we did was Rumours, because that come up in conversation, and we spoke about Rumours, and Rumours is one of those things where everybody that is word perfect on the album.
My goodness.
And everybody's listened to it 1,000 times, but no one's really heard the album. Because I know that I listened to it with fresh ears, and it was just staggering how good the album was. I mean, I know it's a great album, and everyone knows it's great, but really listening to it, it was just mind blowing. And that was another one of those moments where we were so in, and obviously Songbird with Christine McVie is the best song on the album.
No, it's not. It's Daddy, isn't it?
Oh, come on.
Hey guys, I've got to get going here.
Cheers, Thomas.
Yeah, Thomas.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
See y'all. That was
Cheers.
fun.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.